The ultrasound screen flickers in the dim medical room. 2 heartbeats echo through the silence. Rapid. Insistent. Impossible. The technician smiles like she's delivering good news. Like she doesn't understand that those 2 tiny rhythms just shattered 3 lives in a single moment. I can't breathe. My hand grips the edge of the examination table so hard my knuckles turn white. Behind me, I hear him whisper my name. Just once. Broken. Emma. His voice cracks on that single syllable, and I know without turning around that he's seen them too. The 2 flickering lights on the screen. The proof of one reckless night that was supposed to stay buried forever. The technician keeps talking. Something about due dates and prenatal vitamins and follow-up appointments. But all I can hear is the sound of my own heartbeat competing with theirs. 3 hearts. No. 5 hearts. All of us tangled together in a moment none of us can take back. He moves closer. I feel the heat of him behind me before I feel his hand hovering near mine. Not touching. Not yet. Like he's afraid I'll disappear if he reaches for me. Don't. His voice is barely a whisper. Please don't do this. I close my eyes. The appointment at the clinic in Hartford is in 2 days. 2 days to erase the evidence of the biggest mistake of my life. 2 days to go back to being invisible. Just the maid. Just the girl who folds sheets and polishes silver and disappears into the background of other people's perfect lives. But now there are 2 heartbeats. And the man standing behind me just ended his engagement this morning. Blew up his entire life. And I don't know if he did it for me or for them, or because he finally realized he'd been living someone else's dream for 34 years. The technician prints the images. 2 small gray shapes on glossy paper. She hands them to me like they're precious. Like they're wanted. Congratulations. She smiles again. Twins are such a blessing. I stare at those images and wonder how something so small can feel so impossibly heavy. My name is Emma Castellano. 26 years old. Nobody special. Just a girl who took a job as a live-in maid because her mother was dying and medical bills don't care about pride or dignity or dreams you had to abandon. And the man standing behind me, the one whose hand is now trembling against the small of my back, is Alexander Hawthorne. Billionaire. Theo. The kind of man whose life was mapped out before he could walk. Ivy League education. Strategic marriage. Empire building. Legacy. Until the night of the storm when everything changed. Until 6 weeks ago when I took a pregnancy test in the staff bathroom and saw 2 lines so bright they burned. Until this morning when he called off his wedding to Victoria Ashford and every news outlet in the country started calling it the scandal of the year. Until right now. This moment. These 2 heartbeats that won't stop echoing in the silence. He steps around the table so I can see his face. His eyes are red. He's still wearing yesterday's suit. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. Maybe he hasn't. Emma. Look at me. I don't want to. Because if I look at him, I'll see everything I've been trying not to feel for months. The way he held me during that storm. The way he whispered my name like it mattered. The way he left money on the nightstand the next morning with a note that said this never happened. Please. So I look, and what I see breaks something inside me. He's terrified. This man who negotiates billion-dollar deals without blinking. Who fires people with 3 words and moves on. Who everyone calls the Ice King because nothing touches him. He's absolutely terrified. Tell me what you're thinking. His voice is steady but his hands aren't. Tell me what you need. I need this to not be happening. I need to go back to being invisible. I need my mother to not be dying. I need to not be sitting in a clinic with 2 lives growing inside me that I never asked for. I need you to not be looking at me like I'm the only thing in the world that matters when we both know I'm not. But what I say is much simpler. I don't know. The technician excuses herself quietly. Professional. Probably used to these moments. The ones where reality crashes in and people have to figure out what comes next. We sit in that small room for a long time. Neither of us speaking. Just breathing. Existing in the space between before and after. Finally he says something that changes everything. I want them. His voice is quiet but certain. I know I have no right to ask. I know this is your choice. But Emma, I want them. Both of them. And I want you to want them too. Tears slide down my face before I can stop them. Fast. Unstoppable. You don't even know me. My voice breaks. We spent one night together. One. And now you're asking me to bring 2 lives into this mess. Into a world where I'm the maid who got pregnant, and you're the billionaire who threw away his perfect life for a scandal. He reaches for my hand. This time I don't pull away. You're right. I don't know your favorite color or what you studied in school or what you wanted to be before life got hard. But I know you stayed late every night to make sure the house was secure during the storm. I know you send most of your paycheck home to cover your mother's treatments. I know you hum when you think no one's listening. I know you're terrified right now and still braver than anyone I've ever met. He squeezes my fingers gently. And I know that for the first time in my entire life, I made a choice that was mine. Not my father's. Not the board's. Not what was expected or strategic or safe. Mine. And it led to this. To you. To them. I want to believe him. God, I want to believe him so badly it physically hurts. But I've been invisible my whole life. You don't just become visible because someone says you matter. You don't just believe you deserve more because 2 lines appear on a test. What if you regret it? I whisper. What if 6 months from now or 6 years from now you wake up and realize you gave up everything for nothing? Then I'll deal with it. He says simply. But Emma, what if I don't? What if this is the thing I was supposed to choose all along and I just didn't know it until now? The question hangs in the air between us. Heavy. Impossible. Real. I look down at the ultrasound images still clutched in my hand. 2 small gray shapes. 2 heartbeats that won't stop. 2 lives waiting to see if they get a chance. And I realize something that terrifies me more than anything else. I want them too. I want to meet them. To see if they have his eyes or my smile. To watch them grow and learn and become whoever they're meant to be. I want to stop being invisible and start being someone's mother. Someone's person. Someone who matters. But wanting something doesn't make it possible. And possible doesn't mean it won't destroy us all. Okay. The word leaves my mouth before I can take it back. Okay. I'll keep them. But Alexander, if you're going to do this, you have to be all in. Not halfway. Not when it's convenient. All in. Because they deserve better than half measures, and so do I. He exhales like he's been holding his breath for hours. Maybe he has. All in. He repeats. I promise. And there in that small medical room with fluorescent lights humming overhead and the city moving on outside like nothing monumental just happened, we make a choice that will either save us or ruin us. There's no way to know which yet. We leave the clinic together. The autumn air is cool and sharp. The kind of weather that makes everything feel more real. More permanent. His car is waiting. Black. Expensive. The kind of car that announces you have money before you even step out of it. The driver opens the door without a word. Professional distance. He's probably seen worse scandals. Alexander helps me inside. His hand lingers on mine for just a second longer than necessary. Then he slides in beside me and the door closes. Suddenly we're alone again. Wrapped in leather and silence and the weight of everything we just decided. The car pulls into traffic. I watch the city slide past the tinted windows. People going about their days. Having coffee. Arguing on street corners. Laughing. Living. None of them knowing that somewhere in this car, 2 lives just changed direction entirely. Are you hungry? Alexander asks quietly. I haven't thought about food in hours. But now that he mentions it, I'm starving. The kind of hungry that makes you feel hollow. Yes. I admit. He leans forward and says something to the driver. An address I don't recognize. Then he settles back and looks at me. Really looks at me. Like he's trying to memorize my face. What? I ask. I'm trying to figure out how I didn't see it before. He says softly. How beautiful you are. How strong. How you've been right there the entire time and I just walked past you like you didn't exist. I feel heat rise in my cheeks. This is dangerous territory. Compliments and soft voices and the memory of his hands on my skin during the storm. You saw what you needed to see. I say carefully. The maid. The help. That's how it's supposed to work. No. He shakes his head. That's how I made it work. Because seeing you, really seeing you, would have meant admitting I was living the wrong life. And that was too terrifying. The car stops outside a small bistro. Not the kind of place billionaires usually eat. Quiet. Unassuming. The kind of place where people go to have real conversations instead of being seen. Inside, the hostess recognizes him immediately but has enough grace not to make a scene. She leads us to a corner booth. Private. Away from windows. We sit. The menu is simple. Comfort food. The kind of meal that feels like a hug. Order whatever you want. Alexander says. I'm about to protest. Old habits. Don't be expensive. Don't take up space. Don't ask for too much. But then I remember the 2 heartbeats on that screen and think maybe it's time to start asking for what I need. The French toast. I say. And orange juice. And maybe the fruit bowl. The server smiles and writes it down. Alexander orders coffee. Black. No food. I wonder if he's too nervous to eat or if he just forgot how. When we're alone again, he reaches across the table. His hand open. Waiting. I hesitate for only a moment before placing my hand in his. Tell me about your mother. He says gently. And just like that, the walls I've been building start to crack. She has stage 4 lung cancer. I hear myself saying. Never smoked a day in her life. Just bad luck. Bad genetics. Bad everything. The treatments are expensive. Experimental. Insurance won't cover most of it. That's why I took this job. It paid more than anything else and it came with room and board so I could send almost everything home. My voice wavers but I keep going. She doesn't know about any of this. The pregnancy. The scandal. I haven't told her because she has enough to worry about. She thinks I'm just working hard and everything's fine. And is it? He asks. Fine. I laugh. It's a brittle sound. Not even close. The food arrives. I eat because I have to. Because these babies need me to. The French toast is perfect. Sweet and warm and exactly what I needed without knowing it. Alexander watches me eat. There's something in his expression I can't quite name. Tenderness, maybe. Or regret. Or both. I'll take care of it. He says finally. Take care of what? Your mother's treatments. All of them. Whatever she needs. You shouldn't have to carry that alone anymore. I set down my fork. This is exactly what I was afraid of. The money. The power. The way he can just solve problems by throwing cash at them. I don't want your charity. I say quietly. It's not charity. He replies. You're carrying my children. Taking care of you means taking care of them. And taking care of you means making sure you're not drowning in worry about your mother. He's right. I know he's right. But accepting help feels like admitting I can't do this alone. And I've been alone for so long I don't know how to be anything else. Okay. I finally say. But I'm paying you back. Someday. When I can. He smiles. It's sad and beautiful and makes him look younger. Deal. We finish the meal in relative silence. Comfortable now. The kind of quiet that happens when you've said all the hard things and there's nothing left but existing in the same space. Outside, the city has shifted into afternoon. Golden light filtering through buildings. The driver is waiting right where we left him. Where to now? I ask. Home. Alexander says. Then he catches himself. I mean, the estate. Unless you'd rather go somewhere else. The estate. I repeat. Where everyone knows. Where Marcus saw you leaving my room. Where Victoria's mother threatened my mother's health care. That home. His jaw tightens. Marcus is gone. I fired him this morning. And Victoria's family can't touch you anymore. I made sure of it. Lawyers. Contracts. The kind of things people with money use to protect what matters. He looks at me steadily. You matter, Emma. They can't hurt you now. I want to believe him. But I've seen how people with power operate. They don't just give up because someone tells them no. The drive back feels longer than it should. Or maybe time is just moving differently now. Slower. Heavier. Weighted with possibility and terror in equal measure. When we pull through the estate gates, I see Julia standing on the front steps. She's wiping her hands on her apron. Worried. The moment she sees me, relief floods her face. She meets us at the car. Pulls me into a hug before I can say anything. Thank God. She whispers. I've been so worried. I thought you'd left for good. I almost did. I admit. She pulls back and looks at Alexander. Then at me. Then back at him. Understanding dawning in her eyes. She breathes. Oh, honey. And just like that, I start crying. Right there on the driveway of this massive estate. With Julia holding me and Alexander standing helplessly nearby and the afternoon sun beating down on all of us. Julia doesn't ask questions. She just holds me until the crying stops. Until I can breathe again. Until the world feels slightly less impossible. Come on. She says gently. Let's get you inside. You need rest. She leads me toward the house. Alexander follows at a distance. Giving me space but not leaving. Just there. Present. Steady. Inside, everything looks the same but feels completely different. The marble floors. The crystal chandeliers. The artwork that costs more than most people make in a lifetime. It's all still here. But now I'm seeing it as something other than a workplace. This is where my children will grow up. I think suddenly. This is the world they'll know. The thought is dizzying. Julia takes me to what used to be my small room in the staff wing. But Alexander stops us. Not there. He says quietly. She needs proper space. The guest suite in the east wing. Julia raises an eyebrow but doesn't argue. We change direction. Up the main staircase. Down a hallway I've cleaned 100 times but never walked down as anything other than staff. The guest suite is enormous. Cream walls. Large windows overlooking the gardens. A bed that looks like a cloud. A bathroom with a tub big enough to swim in. This is too much. I start to say. It's what you need. Alexander cuts me off gently. Rest. I'll have Julia bring you anything you want. And Emma. He pauses at the door. We're going to figure this out. I promise. Then he's gone. And I'm alone in this beautiful room. In this beautiful house. Carrying two beautiful impossibilities. I sink onto the bed. The mattress is soft. Perfect. Nothing like the thin one in my old room. I lie back and stare at the ceiling and try to process everything that's happened in the last 8 hours. This morning I woke up planning to end this pregnancy. To go back to my life. To forget Alexander Hawthorne existed outside of staff meetings and quarterly reports. Now I'm lying in his guest suite. Carrying his twins. Watching my entire future rearrange itself in real time. There's a soft knock. Julia enters with a tray. Crackers. Water. Thought you might need this. She says. She sets it on the nightstand and sits on the edge of the bed. Her face is kind but serious. Are you sure about this? She asks quietly. Really sure? No. I admit. I'm not sure about anything. But I'm doing it anyway. She nods slowly. That's brave. Stupid maybe. But brave. I laugh despite everything. Thanks, Julia. She pats my hand. You're going to need help. Real help. Not just him throwing money around. You're going to need someone who knows how this world works. Someone who can teach you how to survive it. Are you offering? I ask. She smiles. I've worked for rich families for 30 years. I've seen it all. The good, the bad, the absolutely devastating. And honey, you're walking into something most people wouldn't survive. She squeezes my hand. But I think you might. You've got something they don't. You've got nothing to lose. And that makes you dangerous in all the right ways. After Julia leaves, I drink the tea. Eat a few crackers. My body is exhausted, but my mind won't stop spinning. I get up and walk to the window. The gardens stretch out below. Perfectly manicured. Expensive. Beautiful in that cold, controlled way rich people love. Somewhere out there, Alexander is probably on the phone with lawyers. Or his father. Or the board. Doing damage control. Trying to keep his empire from crumbling completely. And I'm up here. The maid. The scandal. The reason his perfect life just exploded. I press my hand against my still flat stomach. Nothing shows yet. But I know they're there. Growing. Changing. Becoming. I'm sorry. I whisper. I'm sorry you're being born into this mess. But I promise I'll figure it out. Somehow. There's another knock. Softer this time. Come in. I call. The door opens. But it's not Julia. It's Alexander. He's changed clothes. Jeans. A sweater. No suit. He looks almost human like this. Almost reachable. Can I come in? He asks. It's your house. I point out. It's your room. He counters. I nod. He enters and closes the door behind him. Stands there awkwardly like he's not sure what to do with his hands. I talk to my lawyers. He says. Set up accounts. Made arrangements. Your mother's treatments are covered. Indefinitely. And there's money for you. For anything you need. I open my mouth to argue, but he raises a hand. Before you say no, just listen. This isn't about control. Or obligation. Or buying you. This is about making sure you and our children have everything you need. That's all. Our children. The words sound strange coming from him. Too real. Too soon. Thank you. I manage. He moves closer. Not touching. Just near. I need to ask you something. And I need you to be honest. Okay. Do you hate me? His voice is quiet. For that night. For leaving money like you were someone I paid. For not seeing you sooner. For all of it. I think about it. Really think about it. No. I finally say. I don't hate you. I'm angry. I'm scared. I'm confused. But I don't hate you. He exhales slowly. Good. That's good. Silence settles between us again. But this time it feels different. Less heavy. More like the beginning of something neither of us can name yet. Can I stay? He asks. Just for a while. I don't want you to be alone. I should say no. Should tell him this is moving too fast. That we need boundaries. That sharing a room right now is a terrible idea. But I'm tired. And scared. And despite everything, I don't want to be alone either. Okay. I whisper. He sits in the armchair by the window. Not on the bed. Keeping distance. Respecting space. Tell me something. I say after a while. Something true. Something you've never told anyone. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he says something that breaks my heart a little. I've been engaged 3 times. Victoria was the 3rd. And every single time, I knew it was wrong. Knew I was marrying the idea of someone instead of an actual person. But I did it anyway because that's what was expected. What was safe. He looks at me. And then I met you. Really met you. Not just saw you cleaning or bringing coffee. Met you. And for the first time in my life, I felt something that wasn't safe. Something that terrified me. Something real. What did you feel? I ask quietly. Hope. He says simply. That maybe I didn't have to live the life everyone else wanted for me. That maybe I could choose something different. Someone different. He stands and moves to the window. The afternoon light catches his profile. Strong jaw. Tired eyes. The weight of 34 years of other people's expectations. I chose you, he says to the glass. Maybe too late. Maybe in the worst possible way. But I chose you. And I'm not taking it back. The words hang in the air. Heavy. True. Impossible. I stand and walk over to him. Place my hand on his arm. He turns and looks down at me with so much raw emotion I almost can't breathe. I chose you too. I whisper. I could have gone to that clinic without telling you. Could have made this go away. But I didn't. Because somewhere in all this mess, I started believing maybe I deserve more than invisible. He cups my face gently. Thumbs brushing away tears I didn't realize were falling. You deserve everything. He breathes. And then he kisses me. Soft. Careful. Like I'm something precious that might break. It's different from the storm. That was desperate. This is tender. A promise instead of an escape. When he pulls back, we're both trembling. This is insane. I whisper against his lips. Completely. He agrees. We're going to mess this up so badly. Probably. People are going to hate us. Definitely. But neither of us moves away. We just stand there, holding each other. Two people who chose the hardest possible path because the easy one felt like dying slowly. Stay tonight. I whisper. Please. I don't want to wake up alone. He kisses my forehead. Gentle. Reverent. I'm not going anywhere. He promises. And for the first time since I saw those 2 lines on that test, I let myself believe him. We spend the rest of the afternoon just existing together. He sits in the armchair reading. I lie on the bed pretending to rest but mostly just watching him. The way he focuses. The small furrow between his brows when he's concentrating. The way he periodically looks over to make sure I'm still there. Julia brings dinner on a tray. Comfort food. Soup. Bread. Something chocolate for dessert. She gives Alexander a look that clearly says don't mess this up, then leaves us alone. We eat quietly. The silence isn't awkward anymore. It's become something else. Understanding, maybe. Or acceptance. Or just exhaustion from feeling too much too fast. After dinner, Alexander asks if he can read to the babies. I laugh because it's absurd. They're barely formed. They can't hear anything yet. But he's serious. So I say yes. He finds a book on the shelf. Some classic novel I've never read. He sits beside me on the bed and places his hand gently on my stomach. Then he starts reading aloud. His voice is low. Soothing. The words don't matter as much as the sound of him trying. I fall asleep like that. To the rhythm of his voice and the warmth of his hand and the impossible hope that maybe, somehow, this will all work out. When I wake, it's dark. The room is lit only by moonlight streaming through the windows. Alexander is still there. Still sitting beside me. His hand hasn't moved. You stayed. I whisper. I told you I would. He replies quietly. I sit up slowly. My body aches in that early pregnancy way. Everything tender. Everything strange. What time is it? Almost midnight. He says. You've been asleep for hours. I should feel embarrassed. But I don't. I just feel safe. And that's more terrifying than anything else. Alexander. I say his name like a question. Yes. What happens now? What happens when the press finds out about the babies? When your father disowns you completely? When Victoria tells everyone I'm a gold digger who trapped you? What happens when this all falls apart? He's quiet for a long time. Then he says something I wasn't expecting. I don't know. And maybe that's okay. He turns to face me fully. For my entire life, I've had plans. Strategies. Exit routes. I've known exactly where I'd be in 5 years, 10 years, 20. And you know what that got me? A life I didn't want. An engagement to someone I didn't love. An empire built on expectations instead of passion. He takes my hand. So maybe not knowing is better. Maybe we just take this one day at a time. Make mistakes. Figure it out as we go. Choose each other every morning until it becomes easy. One day at a time. I repeat. One day at a time. He confirms. I want to believe it's that simple. But nothing about this is simple. There are lawyers and board members and angry ex-fiancés and dying mothers and 2 tiny lives depending on us not to screw this up completely. But looking at him now. This man who gave up everything because he couldn't stand the thought of living a lie anymore. I think maybe we have a chance. A small one. A terrifying one. But a chance nonetheless. We talk through the night. About everything and nothing. He tells me about growing up with a father who valued profit over people. About boarding schools and empty holidays and learning to hide everything soft about himself because soft meant weak. I tell him about my mother. About how she used to sing in the kitchen and how I'd dance on her feet. About how I left college when she got sick because family was more important than degrees. About the guilt I carry for resenting her sometimes. For wishing my life could be different. He listens without judgment. Without trying to fix anything. Just listens. And that might be the most intimate thing anyone's ever done for me. As dawn starts to break, painting the room in shades of pink and gold, he asks me something unexpected. What do you want to name them? I blink. I haven't thought about names. Haven't let myself think that far ahead. I don't know. I admit. What do you want? He smiles. Something that means something. Not family names or trendy names. Something that's just theirs. I think about it. About these 2 small lives. These 2 impossible gifts. Sophia. I say quietly. If one of them is a girl. It was my grandmother's name. She raised my mother alone. Strong. Stubborn. Survived things that should have broken her. Sophia. He repeats. I like it. And if there's a boy, James. He says immediately. My middle name. The one I never use because my father hates it. Said it wasn't strong enough for a Hawthorne. He looks at me. But I always liked it. It felt like mine. The only thing that was. Sophia and James. I whisper. Okay. And just like that, they become real. Not just heartbeats on a screen. Not just the reason our lives exploded. But actual people with names and futures and parents who are terrified but trying. The sun rises fully. Light floods the room. Alexander stands and stretches. He looks exhausted. Beautiful. Human. I should let you rest. He says. But I'll be back. I'm meeting with the board this afternoon. They want answers. What are you going to tell them? I ask. The truth. He says simply. That I made a choice. That I'm keeping my company but changing how I run it. That family comes first now. Even if it's not the family they expected. They might fire you. I point out. He shrugs. Then I'll build something new. Something better. Something that doesn't require me to sacrifice my humanity for profit. He leans down and kisses my forehead. Rest. Eat. Call your mother. And Emma. Yes. Stop waiting for this to fall apart. He says gently. We're stronger than you think. Then he's gone. And I'm alone with the sunrise and 2 tiny lives and the terrifying hope that maybe, just maybe, he's right. The board meeting is scheduled for 2 in the afternoon. I know because Alexander tells me before he leaves. His voice is steady, but I can see the tension in his shoulders. The way he adjusts his tie 3 times before getting it right. The way his jaw tightens when he checks his phone and sees another message from his father. I should stay in this room. Rest like he said. But the thought of sitting here alone while he faces the wolves makes my stomach turn. So I get dressed. Not in my maid uniform. That life is over. Instead I wear jeans and a soft sweater Julia brought me. Simple. Comfortable. Mine. I find Julia in the kitchen. She's preparing lunch. The smell of fresh bread fills the room. Warm. Grounding. Normal. You're up, she says when she sees me. Thought you'd sleep longer. I couldn't. I admit. Too much in my head. She nods knowingly. I'll make you something. I sit at the kitchen island. This is where I used to eat my meals quickly between tasks. Standing. Invisible. Now I'm sitting. Taking up space. Being seen. Julia sets a plate in front of me. Scrambled eggs. Toast. Fresh fruit. She watches me eat with that maternal concern that makes my chest ache. Called your mother yet? She asks gently. I freeze. The fork halfway to my mouth. No. I whisper. I don't know what to say. The truth usually works. Julia says. Though I suspect the truth is pretty complicated right now. I set down the fork. My appetite's suddenly gone. She's dying, Julia. The last thing she needs is to worry about me. About this. About how I threw away my job and got pregnant by my boss, and now I'm living in his guest suite like some kind of kept woman. My voice cracks. What if she's ashamed of me? Julia moves around the island and pulls me into a hug. Fierce. Protective. The kind of hug my mother used to give before the sickness made her too weak. That woman raised you alone. Worked 3 jobs. Sacrificed everything so you could have a chance. She breathes against my hair. You think she's going to judge you for surviving. For choosing life even when it's messy. She pulls back and looks at me hard. Call her. Let her decide how she feels instead of deciding for her. I nod. Wipe my eyes. Take a shaky breath. After I finish eating, I go back upstairs. Sit on the bed with my phone in my hands. My mother's number is right there. 1 call. That's all it takes. But my finger hovers over the screen for a long time before I finally press it. It rings 3 times. Then her voice. Weaker than I remember. But still her. Emma. Sweetheart. I've been worried. You haven't called in weeks. Guilt slams into me. She's right. I've been avoiding her. Too afraid she'd hear the truth in my voice. I'm sorry, Mama. I've been. I pause. Trying to find the right words. Things have been complicated. She's quiet for a moment. Then she says something that breaks me. You're pregnant. It's not a question. It's a statement. Like she already knows. Like mothers always know. How did you? I start. You're my daughter. She says simply. I know when something's changed. And your voice right now. That's not just complicated. That's terrified and hopeful and trying not to cry. That's how I sounded when I found out I was pregnant with you. Tears stream down my face. I don't try to stop them. Yes. I whisper. I'm pregnant. With twins. And it's... God, Mama, it's such a mess. Tell me. She says gently. So I do. I tell her everything. The storm. Alexander. The pregnancy test. The ultrasound. The scandal. The choice. All of it spills out in a rush of words and tears and fear. When I finish, there's silence. Long enough that I think maybe the call dropped. Or maybe she hung up. Maybe this was too much. Maybe I broke her heart. But then she speaks. Are you safe? She asks. Yes. I answer honestly. Is he good to you? I think about Alexander sitting beside me all night. Reading to babies who can't hear yet. Promising to figure it out one day at a time. Yes. I say. He is. Then that's all that matters. She says firmly. Everything else is just noise. People will talk. They always do. But Emma, you listen to me. You are not a scandal. You are not a mistake. You are my daughter. And you're going to be a mother. And that is beautiful. even when it's hard. Her voice wavers with emotion. I wish I could be there, to hold your hand, to help you through this. But baby, I'm so tired. This sickness, it's winning. My heart clenches. Don't say that. I choke out. You're going to fight. You're going to meet them. Your grandchildren. You have to. She's quiet. Then she says something I'll carry forever. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But either way, you're going to be okay. You've always been stronger than you believed. And now you have someone who sees that. Don't waste it being afraid. We talk for another hour. She asks questions about the babies. About Alexander. About the house. Her voice gets weaker as we talk, but she doesn't hang up. Like she needs this connection as much as I do. When we finally say goodbye, I sit there holding the phone. Crying. But not the hopeless kind of crying. The kind that cleanses. That makes room for something new. There's a knock on the door. I quickly wipe my face. Come in. It's not Julia this time. It's Alexander. But he's not alone. There's a woman with him. Older. Elegant. Wearing a perfectly tailored suit. She has kind eyes and the bearing of someone who's seen everything and isn't easily shocked. Emma. Alexander says gently. This is Margaret Chen. He pauses. A friend. And one of the best family lawyers in the country. Margaret steps forward and offers her hand. I shake it. Her grip is firm. Confident. It's nice to meet you, Emma. She says warmly. Alexander has told me about your situation. And I'm here to help. Help how? I ask carefully. She sits in the armchair. Alexander sits beside me on the bed. Close but not touching. Giving me space to process. Margaret pulls out a tablet and opens several documents. First, she says, your mother's medical care. I've reviewed the bills and treatment plans. Everything is now covered under a private medical trust. No caps. No limits. She'll have access to any treatment she needs. Anywhere in the world. I stare at her. At Alexander. At the documents on the screen. I don't understand. I whisper. Alexander leans forward. His voice is gentle. I told you I'd take care of it. This is how. The trust is separate from my personal accounts. Legally protected. Even if. He pauses. Even if things between us don't work out, your mother is covered. Forever. I can't breathe. This is too much. Too generous. Too impossible. Why? I manage to ask. Why would you do this? Because she's your mother. He says simply. And you shouldn't have to choose between her life and your own. Margaret clears her throat gently. Bringing us back to business. Second. She continues. Your legal protection. Given the media attention and the potential for harassment, I've prepared several documents. A restraining order against anyone who threatens you or attempts to contact you without permission. A non-disclosure agreement for household staff. And a comprehensive privacy protection that limits what can be published about you or the children. She looks at me directly. You're not just the maid anymore, Emma. You're the mother of Alexander's children. That makes you a target. These protections ensure you can live your life without constant fear. I nod slowly. Trying to process. Trying to understand how my life went from invisible to legally protected in less than 24 hours. And third. Margaret says. The children. We need to establish paternity, custody arrangements, and financial provisions. But Alexander has made it clear he wants everything to be fair. Generous. Protective of all parties involved. She slides the tablet toward me. Document after document. Legal language I barely understand. But the intention is clear. Alexander isn't just trying to do the right thing. He's building a fortress around us. I look at him. Really look at him. This is a lot. I say quietly. I know. He replies. But Emma, I need you to understand something. This isn't about control or obligation. This is about showing you that I'm serious. That I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and change my mind. That you and these babies are my priority now. Everything else is secondary. Margaret stands gracefully. I'll give you two some privacy. Emma, look over the documents. Ask questions. Nothing gets signed until you're completely comfortable. And if you want your own lawyer to review everything, that's not only acceptable but encouraged. She moves toward the door. Then pauses. For what it's worth, she says. I've known Alexander for 15 years. Watched him build an empire while slowly dying inside. This is the first time I've seen him actually alive. Whatever you two have, it's real. Don't let fear destroy it before it has a chance. Then she's gone. And I'm alone with Alexander and a tablet full of documents that represent the rest of my life. I can't read all of this now. I admit. My brain is too full. Then don't, he says. We have time. But Emma, I need you to know something. He takes the tablet and sets it aside. Takes my hands in his. The board meeting today. It didn't go well. My stomach drops. What happened? His father was there. He hasn't spoken to me in weeks. Not since I called off the wedding. But today he showed up. Made a proposal to the board. Alexander's voice tightens. He wants me removed as CEO. Wants to install someone else. Someone who will, in his words, not let personal scandals destroy decades of reputation. Oh God. I breathe. Alexander, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. If I had just... No. He cuts me off firmly. Don't do that. Don't take responsibility for other people's cruelty. I made my choice. I knew there would be consequences. So what happens now? I ask. Do they vote? Do you fight it? He smiles. It's not a happy smile. It's the smile of someone who just burned down their old life and is watching it turn to ash. I quit. What? I stood up in that boardroom. Looked at my father. At all those men who've spent years telling me who to be. And I quit. Effective immediately. He laughs. It's a wild sound. Free. Do you know how good it felt? To just walk away. To choose myself for once. To choose us. He pulls me close. His forehead against mine. I'm done building empires for other people. I want to build a life. With you. With them. Something real. Something that matters. You're insane. I whisper. Completely. He agrees. We're going to be broke. Not broke. He corrects. I have savings. Investments. Enough to be comfortable. But yeah. No more private jets. No more 5-star everything. Is that okay? I laugh. It's a half sob. Half relief. Alexander. I was a maid. I'm used to not having anything. I think I can handle comfortable. He kisses me then. Deep. Desperate. Like I'm oxygen and he's been drowning. When we break apart, we're both breathing hard. Tell me this is real. He whispers. Tell me I didn't just blow up my entire life for something that's going to disappear. It's real. I promise. Terrifying and messy and completely insane. But real. We spend the rest of the afternoon going through documents. Margaret was right. Everything is more than fair. It's generous to the point of overwhelming. Trust funds for the babies. A home in my name. Monthly support that's more than I made in a year as a maid. I keep waiting for the catch. For the moment when he asks for something in return. But it never comes. This is just trying to make sure we're okay. No matter what happens. By evening, I'm exhausted. Emotionally drained. Alexander notices. You need rest. He says. Real rest. Not just sitting here staring at legal documents. I need air. I counter. I've been inside all day. I need to remember the world still exists outside these walls. He thinks for a moment, then smiles. Come with me. He leads me downstairs, through the house, out the back doors, into the gardens. The sun is setting, painting everything gold and pink. The air is cool. Perfect. We walk in silence through perfectly manicured paths until we reach a section I've never seen before. It's wild here. Overgrown. Like someone started a garden and then abandoned it. Roses climbing over fallen trellises. Wildflowers pushing through cracks in old stone. This was my mother's garden. Alexander says quietly. She died when I was 7. My father had most of it torn out. Said it was too messy. Too uncontrolled. But he left this section. Don't know why. Maybe guilt. Maybe memory. He sits on an old stone bench. I sit beside him. I used to come here when I was a kid. When everything felt too big. Too expected. I'd sit right here and pretend she was still alive. That she'd come find me and tell me it was okay to not want the life my father planned. He looks at me. I want to bring them here. Sophia and James. Want to teach them that beautiful doesn't have to be perfect. That sometimes the best things grow in the spaces we forget to control. I lean against him. His arm comes around me naturally. Like we've been doing this for years instead of hours. Your mother would have liked that. I say softly. The garden. The wildness. The freedom. How do you know? He asks. Because she raised you. I reply. And despite everything your father tried to do, despite all the pressure and expectations, you still know how to choose something real. That came from somewhere. Probably from her. We sit there as the sun disappears completely. As stars begin to appear. As the temperature drops and the world gets quiet. I'm scared, I admit, of being a mother. Of messing them up. Of not being enough. Me too, he says. But, Emma, we're scared together. That has to count for something. A breeze picks up, rustling through the abandoned garden, carrying the scent of roses and earth and possibility. Tell me about your dreams, he says suddenly. Not the practical ones. The impossible ones. The things you wanted before life got hard. I think about it. About the girl I was before bills and sickness and survival became my entire world. I wanted to be a teacher. I finally say. Elementary school. I loved the idea of helping kids discover things. Of being the person who made learning feel like magic instead of work. My voice gets softer. I wanted a little house. Nothing fancy. Just mine. With a garden where I could grow vegetables. And a porch where I could drink coffee in the morning. And maybe a dog. I always wanted a dog. I laugh quietly. Stupid dreams. Right? So ordinary. Not stupid. He says firmly. Real. Honest. Beautiful. He shifts to look at me. What if I told you we could have that? Not here. Not in this estate with all its history and expectations. But somewhere else. A house that's ours. A garden you plant yourself. A dog that's probably going to destroy all our furniture. What about your life? I ask. Your company. Or everything. I told you. He says. I quit. I walked away. And yeah. I need to figure out what comes next. But, Emma, what if what comes next is just us? Building something small and real instead of massive and hollow. You're serious. He nods. Dead serious. I stare at him. This man who was worth billions yesterday. Who had power and influence and a name that opened every door. And he's offering to trade it all for a little house and a garden and a life that looks nothing like what he was raised for. That's insane. I whisper. Is it though? He challenges gently. Is it insane to want to wake up happy? To watch my kids grow up instead of seeing them for 10 minutes before bed? To actually know my wife instead of just being married to her? Wife. I repeat. We're not. We haven't even talked about. I know. He says quickly. I'm not proposing. Not yet. I'm just saying. Someday. Maybe. If you want. He's fumbling. It's adorable. This powerful man reduced to maybe and someday because he's terrified I'll say no. I think about it. Really think about it. About what he's offering. Not wealth or status or security. But partnership. Voice. Freedom to build something that's ours instead of inheriting something that was never meant for us. Okay. I say. Okay, what? Okay, let's do it. Let's find a little house. Plant a garden. Get a dog. Figure out what comes next together. His face transforms. Pure joy. Pure relief. Pure hope. Yeah. I confirm. He kisses me. Soft and sweet and full of promise. And in that moment, sitting in his dead mother's abandoned garden while carrying his children, I let myself believe in impossible things. We stay there until the cold forces us inside. Julia has left dinner warming in the kitchen. Simple food. Comfort food. We eat at the small staff table instead of the formal dining room. Feels right. More honest. After dinner, Alexander gets a call. His expression darkens as he listens. When he hangs up, he's quiet for a long moment. That was Margaret. He finally says, Victoria gave an interview. It's not good. He pulls up his phone, shows me the headline. Billionaire's betrayal. Ex-fiancé speaks out about secret affair with household staff. My stomach turns. I don't want to read it. But I need to know what we're facing. The article is brutal. Victoria paints herself as the victim. The devoted fiancé blindsided by betrayal. She calls me calculating. A gold digger who seduced a vulnerable man. She suggests I got pregnant on purpose to trap him. The comments section is worse. Thousands of people who don't know me. Who don't know us. Calling me names. Saying horrible things. Wishing harm on me and the babies. I set down the phone. My hands are shaking. This is what it's going to be like. I say quietly, isn't it? 4 months. Maybe years. People hating me. Judging me. Deciding who I am based on lies. Alexander takes my hand. Yes. He says honestly. Probably. Victoria has money and connections and a platform. She's going to use all of it. And people love a villain. It makes them feel better about their own lives. He squeezes my fingers. But, Emma, their opinions don't matter. They don't know you. They don't know us. They don't know that you're brave and kind and stronger than anyone I've ever met. So let them talk. Let them judge. We know the truth. That's enough. Is it though? I ask. Is the truth enough when the lies are so much louder? He doesn't answer right away. Because he knows I'm right. In the court of public opinion, truth rarely wins against a good story. Finally he says, we make our own truth. We live our lives. We raise our children. We build something beautiful. And eventually, maybe, people will see it. Or maybe they won't. But at least we'll know we didn't let fear win. I want to believe him. God, I want to believe him so badly. But that night, after he leaves and I'm alone in the too big bed in the too beautiful room, I can't stop thinking about those comments. About all those strangers who hate me. Who wish I didn't exist. I pull up my phone. Against my better judgment, I start reading. Every cruel word. Every accusation. Every threat. I read until my eyes burn and my chest aches and I can't breathe. Then I read one comment that stops me cold. Those babies deserve better than a mother who trapped their father. Hope she loses them both. I drop the phone like it burned me. My hand goes to my stomach. Protective. Fierce. No. I whisper. No. You don't get to say that. You don't get to wish harm on them because you don't approve of how they were made. Tears stream down my face. But this time they're not sad tears. They're angry. defiant. Screw them. I say to the empty room. Screw all of them. These babies are wanted. They're loved. And I'm going to protect them from every single person who thinks they have the right to judge. I grab my phone again. But this time I don't read comments. I block, delete, unfollow. I remove every toxic space, every cruel voice, every person who thinks they know my story better than I do. By the time I'm done, my phone is almost empty. But I can breathe again. There's a soft knock on the door. It's nearly midnight. I quickly wipe my face. Come in. Alexander enters. He's in pajama pants and a t-shirt. Hair messy. Eyes worried. I heard you crying, he says. Through the walls. I wanted to make sure you're okay. I read the comments. I admit. All of them. Every horrible word. He crosses the room. Sits beside me on the bed. Emma. I know. I say. I know I shouldn't have. But I needed to see it. To know what we're up against. And now you know. Now I know. I confirm. And you know what? They can all go to hell. He blinks. Surprised. Then he laughs. Really laughs. The sound fills the room. Chases away some of the darkness. There she is. He says. The woman who told a billionaire to go to hell in her own way. The woman who chose to keep fighting even when everything said to give up. He takes my face in his hands. They can say whatever they want. But you're here. You're real. And you're mine. And I will spend every day for the rest of my life making sure you never doubt that. He kisses me. Desperate. Claiming. Like he's trying to erase every cruel word with this one act. When we break apart, we're both breathless. I whisper. Tonight. Every night. I don't want to be alone anymore. He doesn't answer. Just kicks off his shoes and climbs into bed beside me. Pulls me against his chest. His heartbeat steady under my ear. I'm not going anywhere. He promises. And finally, I sleep. The next few weeks pass in a blur. We fall into a routine. Morning sickness that's actually all-day sickness. Doctor appointments where we see Sophia and James growing. Long walks in the garden. Quiet dinners. Stolen moments of laughter between the chaos. Alexander starts working on a new project. Something about sustainable technology and ethical business practices. He's passionate about it in a way I never saw when he talked about his old company. He works from home now. From a small office off the library. Sometimes I bring him lunch and stay to listen to his ideas. I don't understand half of it, but I love watching him come alive. Julia becomes my anchor. She teaches me about pregnancy, about what to expect. She tells stories about the families she's worked for, the good ones and the disasters. She makes me laugh when everything feels too heavy. My mother's health stabilizes. The new treatments are working. Not curing, but buying time. She video calls once a week. Watches my belly grow. Cries happy tears when we tell her the names we've chosen. But the media doesn't stop. If anything, it gets worse. Victoria does more interviews. Alexander's father makes public statements about disappointment and betrayal. Photographers camp outside the estate gates. We stop going out. It's easier, safer. The world outside these walls is hostile. But inside we're building something fragile and beautiful. One afternoon, Alexander finds me in the abandoned garden. I've been coming here almost daily now. Clearing away debris. Planting new flowers. Trying to bring it back to life. You've been busy, he says, looking around at the progress. It needed someone to care. I reply. Gardens don't thrive on neglect. Neither do people. He says quietly. He sits beside me on the stone bench. We're both dirty. Covered in soil. It feels good. Real. Human. I found a house. he says suddenly. What? A house. For us. It's about an hour north. Small town. Nobody knows us there. 3 bedrooms. Big yard. Needs work. But it's perfect, Emma. Exactly what you described. He pulls out his phone. Shows me pictures. White house with blue shutters. Wraparound porch. Overgrown garden. Garage. Face. I start. Then stop. Because I can't find words for what I'm feeling. Too much? He asks. Too fast? No. I manage. It's perfect. When can we see it? Tomorrow. If you want. We can drive up. Walk through. See if it feels right. Okay. I whisper. Okay, yes. He grins. Pulls me close. Kisses my temple. We're really doing this, he says. We're really building a life. We're really doing this. I agree. That night, I can barely sleep. I keep thinking about that house. About possibility. About a future that looks nothing like what I imagined, but everything I secretly hoped for. The next morning, we leave early. Alexander drives. I watch the city disappear in the rearview mirror. Watch suburbs give way to small towns. Watch the world open up. The house is even better in person. Charming. Worn. Loved once and waiting to be loved again. The realtor meets us outside. She's kind. Professional. Doesn't mention scandals or headlines. Just shows us the space. 3 bedrooms upstairs. Master with attached bath. 2 smaller rooms perfect for nurseries. Downstairs is open. Kitchen. Living room. Dining area. Everything flows together. The backyard is massive. Trees. Space for a garden. Even a small shed that could be a workshop or studio. What do you think? Alexander asks quietly while the realtor steps outside to take a call. I pause. Trying to capture what I'm feeling. I think this is where we're supposed to be. He smiles. Relieved. Happy. Yeah. He agrees. Me too. We make an offer that day. It's accepted within hours. Because Alexander pays cash. Because he wants this. Wants us to have a home that's ours. The next month is chaos. Packing. Moving. Saying goodbye to the estate. Julia cries. Makes me promise to visit. To let her meet the babies when they arrive. We move in late October. The house is empty except for a few pieces of furniture we bought. Simple stuff. Nothing fancy. Just functional and comfortable. That first night, we sit on the living room floor eating takeout. The house is quiet. Peaceful. Ours. This is nice. I say. Yeah. Alexander agrees. Really nice. We sleep on a mattress on the floor that night. No bed frame yet. No proper setup. But wrapped in his arms in this small house in this small town where nobody knows our names. I feel more at peace than I have in months. The next few weeks, we settle in. Paint nurseries. Assemble cribs. Plant bulbs in the garden for spring. We meet neighbors who are friendly but respectful. They don't ask questions. Just welcome us. I start taking online classes. Working toward that teaching degree I abandoned years ago. Alexander works on his new company. We're busy. Exhausted. Happy. My belly grows. Sophia and James make their presence known. Kicking. Rolling. Taking up space. Alexander talks to them every night. Tells them about his day. About the world they're going to enter. About how loved they already are. One evening in late November, I'm making dinner when Alexander comes up behind me. Wraps his arms around my expanding waist. Rests his chin on my shoulder. Marry me, he says quietly. I freeze. Spatula in hand. Heart pounding. What? Marry me, he repeats. Not because we have to. Not because of them. But because I love you. Because I want everyone to know you're mine. Because I can't imagine my life without you in it. He turns me gently. Drops to one knee right there in our small kitchen. I don't have a ring yet. He admits. I wanted to ask first. Make sure you'd say yes before I spent hours agonizing over what kind of diamond says I love you more than anything. I'm crying. Big messy tears. Happy tears. You don't need a diamond. I manage. You just needed to ask. Is that a yes? He asks. Voice hopeful. Scared. Human. Yes. I laugh through tears. Yes. 1,000 times yes. He stands. Kisses me. Deep. Thorough. Like he's sealing a promise. We get married 2 weeks later. Small ceremony. Judge. Julia as witness. My mother on video call. Simple. Perfect. Everything a wedding should be. I wear a cream dress that accommodates my belly. He wears a suit. We say vows we wrote ourselves. Promise to choose each other every day. To build a life based on love instead of expectation. To raise our children in truth instead of pretense. When the judge declares us married, Alexander kisses me like I'm precious. Like I'm everything. That night, we celebrate alone. Dinner he cooked. Music. Dancing in the living room. My belly between us. Our children moving. Our future unfolding. This is everything. I whisper against his chest. Everything. He agrees. December brings snow. Cold. The house is cozy. Warm. We spend evenings by the fire. Reading. Talking. Preparing. Christmas is quiet. Just us. We exchange small gifts. Meaningful things. A journal for me to record memories. A watch for him engraved with 3 names. Emma. Sophia. James. We're sitting by the tree when I feel it. A tightening. Different from the practice contractions I've been having. Alexander. I say quietly. He looks up. Sees my face. Is it time? I don't know. I admit. Maybe. It's early. They're not due for another 3 weeks. Another contraction hits. Stronger. More insistent. Okay. He says. Standing. Trying to stay calm. Okay. Hospital. Let's go. The drive is terrifying. Snow falling. Roads slick. Contractions coming faster. Alexander gripping the steering wheel. Me gripping his hand. We make it. They rush me in. Exam. Questions. Confirmation. You're having these babies today. The doctor says calmly. Today. I repeat. They're early. Are they okay? Are they going to be okay? They're good size. The doctor assures me. Good heart rates. Early but not dangerously so. Let's bring them into the world. Labor is long. Painful. Exhausting. Alexander never leaves my side. Holds my hand. Whispers encouragement. Cries with me when it gets too hard. 18 hours later. Late on December 26th. Sophia Rose Hawthorne enters the world. Screaming. Perfect. 5 pounds 6 ounces. 3 minutes later. James Alexander Hawthorne follows. Quieter. 5 pounds 8 ounces. They're placed on my chest. Warm. Alive. Mine. Alexander is crying. Openly. Unashamed. He touches their tiny heads with trembling hands. You did it. He whispers. You brought them here. Our family. Our everything. I can't speak. Can't do anything but stare at these 2 impossible miracles. These lives we made. These children who were supposed to be a mistake but turned into the best choice we ever made. Later. When they're cleaned and measured and wrapped in blankets. When I'm stitched and exhausted. When it's just the 4 of us in a quiet hospital room. Alexander holds them both. He says softly, I'm your dad. I've been waiting so long to meet you. He looks at me. eyes shining. "Thank you," he says, "for not giving up on them, on us, for being braver than I ever was." I smile, exhausted, happy, complete. "Thank you for seeing me," I reply, "for making me believe I deserved more than invisible." We spend that night in the hospital, learning how to be parents, fumbling through diaper changes and feeding, laughing at our mistakes, crying from exhaustion and joy. Julia visits the next morning, brings food, flowers, holds the babies like they're precious, like they're hers too in some way. "Your mother called," she tells me gently. "She saw the photos you sent. She's so proud, Emma. Tell her I love her," I say. "Tell her she needs to keep fighting. I need her to meet them in person." Julia nods, eyes sad, because we both know time is running out. We bring Sophia and James home 3 days later. Drive slow, careful, like we're transporting the most valuable cargo in the world. The house feels different with them in it. Fuller, louder, more alive. That first night is chaos. Both babies crying, neither of us knowing what to do. We take turns, pace the floors, sing terrible lullabies, eventually figure it out through trial and error. By dawn we're exhausted, sitting on the couch, each holding a finally sleeping baby, looking at each other like we just survived a war. "We can do this," Alexander says, voice uncertain. "Right. We can figure this out. We can do this," I confirm, though I have no idea if I'm lying. The first few months are brutal, beautiful, impossible. There's no sleep, no time, just endless cycles of feeding and changing and soothing. But there's also joy, watching them discover their hands, hearing their first laughs, seeing Alexander transform into a father who's present and patient and completely devoted. My mother's health declines in February. The doctors say weeks, maybe days. We drive to see her. 4-hour trip with 2 infants. It's exhausting, but necessary. She's in hospice. Small room. Too many machines. She looks so small, so fragile. But when she sees us, when I place Sophia in her arms, then James, her face transforms. "My grandbabies," she whispers. "Oh, Emma, they're perfect. They look like you," I tell her. "Sophia has your eyes. James has your stubborn chin." She laughs. It turns into a cough. But she's smiling. "You did good, baby," she says. "You chose love. You chose life. I'm so proud." We stay for hours. Let her hold them. Tell them stories. Sing soft songs. Alexander takes photos. Hundreds of them. Capturing these moments we'll never get back. When it's time to leave, she holds my hand tight. "Be happy," she says. "That's all I want. For you to be happy." "I am, Mama. I promise. I'm so happy." She passes 2 days later. Peacefully. In her sleep. We bury her on a gray March morning. Small service. Just us and a few of her friends. I hold Sophia. Alexander holds James. We say goodbye to the woman who taught me strength even when everything hurt. Grief is strange. It comes in waves. Some days I'm fine. Other days I can barely breathe. But having the babies helps. They need me. They don't care that I'm sad. They just need their mother. Alexander is patient. Holds me when I cry. Takes the night shifts so I can sleep. Never complains. Never suggests I should be over it. Spring comes slowly. The bulbs we planted bloom. The garden comes alive. The babies grow. Start smiling. Start recognizing us. One warm April afternoon, I'm in the garden with them. They're on a blanket, looking up at clouds, babbling their baby language. Alexander comes outside, sits beside us. I got an email today, he says. From Margaret. Victoria's getting married. To someone else. Someone in her social circle. Oh, I say. Not sure how to feel. Good for her, I guess. Yeah. He agrees. But more importantly, she's dropping it. The media campaign. The interviews. All of it. She's moving on. Really. Really. He smiles. It's over, Emma. The scandal. The headlines. All of it. We're just us now. A family no one cares about anymore. I laugh. It's the best news I've heard in months. So we won, I say. He shakes his head. We didn't win. We just survived. And surviving is enough. We sit there, watching our children discover grass for the first time. Watching them exist in this beautiful ordinary moment. This is what I wanted. I realize. Not wealth. Not fame. Just this. Family. Peace. A life that's mine. Me too. Alexander says. Like he can read my mind. This is everything I never knew I needed. That night after the babies are asleep, we sit on the porch. The one I dreamed about years ago. Drinking coffee. Watching fireflies. Do you ever regret it? I ask. Giving up everything. Choosing this instead. Every single day. He says. My heart stops. Then he laughs. I'm kidding. God. Emma. No. I don't regret a single second. This life. It's the only real thing I've ever had. He takes my hand. I spent 34 years building an empire I didn't want. And then I met you. And you showed me that empire means nothing if you're empty inside. He kisses my knuckles. You saved me. You know that, right? You and those 2 heartbeats on a screen. You saved my life. I lean against him. Feel his warmth. His solid presence. You saved mine too. I whisper. You made me believe I deserved more than survival. You made me visible. We sit there until the stars come out. Until the night gets cold. Until we're forced inside by practical things like blankets and warmth. But before we go in, I look back at the porch. The garden. The small house with lights glowing warm. This is home, I think. Not the estate with marble floors. Not the luxury or status. This small, ordinary, beautiful life. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Years later. When Sophia and James are running through that garden. When Alexander's company has grown into something meaningful and ethical. When we're sitting on that same porch watching another sunset. I'll remember. I'll remember the ultrasound screen. 2 heartbeats that changed everything. I'll remember his whispered plea. Don't. Please don't do this. I'll remember choosing life when everything said to choose easy. And I'll know. Without question. Without doubt. It was worth it. Every terrifying, beautiful, impossible moment. Because sometimes the worst timing is actually perfect timing in disguise. Sometimes the scandal becomes the love story. Sometimes the maid and the billionaire get their happy ending after all. Not because it was easy, but because they chose each other. Every single day. Until choosing became breathing. And that is everything. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Untold Desires by Mr. Lewis for more stories that remind us what it means to be human. And remember, you never know when your moment to stop, to see, to stay will come. Don't walk past it. Because sometimes the person you save ends up saving you right back. Thank you for watching. And remember, kindness still exists. You just have to choose it.